Let's discuss LeetCode problem number 341, Flatten Nested List Iterator. So but before we discuss, please share, like, subscribe, and hit the bell button for notifications. Also, I have added a lot of quizzes to the community page. Please check it out. Now, back to the problem. So, the task in this problem is like you are given a nested list and you are supposed to flatten it out. So it could be slightly confusing because you have the iterators to go through the nested list, but you what you are doing is a flatten list iterator. That's what it is. It should have named it as flatten list iterator, but it is called as nested iterator. So it is a little confusing, but you are supposed to implement the one which will flatten, but you will use the nested lists iterators in the process. So you are supposed to implement a constructor, a next, and the hasNext. So let us take a look at the solution. So I call this as push iterator pair onto the stack pattern. So whenever you see a nested list, you push the begin and the end the iterator of the nested list. So what we are implementing is, as I discussed before, like we are implementing the nested iterator, but you are using the lists iterator to help you in the process. So if you see this one, the nested iterators constructor, you are actually pushing the iterators of the list, which is basically can be nested, which has sort of like which is like not nested in this case. This one gives straightforward, like the sub list. If there is a sub list, the begin and end will return the elements one by one of the sub list. So the next is simpler. Let us this one does all the work. So you just check whether there is a next integer or not, and if it is there, you basically say, hey, next, give me that integer. And so this one, what it does is it takes the top of the stack and then moves the iterate by getting the integer, and then moves it by one step to the next next element in the list. So the hasNext, where a lot of work is being done. So if the stack is empty, so if it is not empty, you go and do all this stuff. But if it is empty, you return false, because now you have come to the end of the iterator. So otherwise, if the stack is not empty, now you extract the begin iterator and the end iterator of the nested list, not the iterator we are implementing. So there is some slight confusion. There can be confusion if you are not you did not observe clearly. And if it is end, if the iterator is at the end, then you pop that nested list iterator. And otherwise, if it's an integer, you say, hey, there is an item, so you return true. But if it is a nested list, you get the nested list, it.getList, and then you forward the current levels iterator by one. So let us say in this example, 1 1, you saw this nested list 1 1 2. So you move the current iterator to 2 and then push this one onto the stack. So when you pop, you basically are at 2 to begin at the higher level. So you push this iterator forward and then push the nested list. See this iterator, the begin and the end, nested list begin and end, you make a pair and then push it onto the stack. So you're building the flatten list iterator using the list iterators. So, and I could not like this is a program the iterator will help when I has next, then you push i.next. So by doing passing in this list, you will get the flattened list as we saw in the LeetCode website. I could not implement the logging. Logging is pretty straightforward. You see this list. Otherwise, if you are supposed to iterator logging is little difficult, because the pointers doesn't make any sense, the addresses, but the values which they are pointing to will actually just have 11211. That's what it will display as. Comment below if you have any questions. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.